If you really take a close look, satellite maps are so much more than just a way to get from point A to point B. They're actually this incredible collection of untold stories, dramas, mysteries, and even illusions, all hiding right there in plain sight, but only if you're looking from high above the Earth. So what do you say? Let's start exploring.
So what are we actually looking for? Well, our little journey is going to take us from modern battlefields all the way to forgotten islands, and along the way, we're going to find some pretty wild things. Like?
Yeah, you heard that right. A strategic bomber that's using this surprisingly low-tech disguise to try and outsmart some seriously high-tech threats. It's an absolutely brilliant act of modern deception.
We're also going to find an island with a name that is so strange, you just know there has to be an amazing story behind it. And oh, there is. A story about some very weary sailors who gave it that unforgettable name.
And we'll see the tragic but kind of stunning satellite record of an entire town that just vanished from the map, almost overnight.
So, first up, what happens when nature itself becomes the map maker? We're going to look at these moments where powerful forces have completely reshaped our world, creating brand new landscapes and, in some cases, revealing things that have been lost for a very long time.
This timeline just shows you how terrifyingly fast a place can be completely erased. On August 17, 2021, this was a beautiful, thriving coastal town on Spain's La Palma Island. But just 2 days later, a volcano nearby erupted with unbelievable force. Today, the entire area is just gone. It's entombed under volcanic ash, a ghost town created in a flash.
But nature doesn't just add things to the map. Sometimes it subtracts in ways you would never expect. We're always hearing about rising sea levels, right? Well, on the island of Iwo Jima, the exact opposite is happening. The island itself is actually rising out of the ocean. What just looked like a bunch of strange rocks offshore back in 2005 are now clearly on dry land, and they've revealed the wrecks of U.S. Navy ships, sunk way back in 1945, and now seeing the sun again after almost 80 years.
And sometimes that receding water reveals a single hidden tragedy. A really severe drought in California caused parts of Lake Oroville to dry up, lowering the water level by a whopping 65 feet. And what emerged from all that mud? The wreckage of an SUV. It's this silent testament to an accident that was hidden for years just beneath the surface.
Okay, next up, let's look at how these satellite images can basically freeze a dramatic event in time, capturing the aftermath of moments that happen far, far away from any eyewitnesses.
Just look at this scar that's been carved into the dense Siberian forest. On June 2, 2022, an Antonov cargo plane completely ran out of fuel. Both engines were dead, so the pilot had absolutely no choice but to try and crash land it. You can actually see the path the plane tore through the trees before it finally slid to a stop. But this isn't just a crash site, it's really a monument to a miracle because somehow all 7 crew members survived.
And hey, speaking of harsh environments, how in the world does a place get a name like Disappointment Island? Well, back in the 19th century, whalers would spend months and months at sea. After a really long, grueling voyage, they'd spot this island near New Zealand and think, finally, a place to restock. But when they got there, they found, well, nothing. No fresh water, no trees to make repairs, no food. Just this brutal, relentless wind. The name stuck, and now it's a permanent reminder of their crushing disappointment.
Now, let's zoom in on some of the most bizarre and mysterious patterns that humans have carved into the surface of our planet, often in the most remote places you can possibly imagine.
Okay, so in the middle of the Saudi desert, miles from absolutely anywhere, satellites spotted this, a perfect 400-meter square. So an ancient ruin maybe? Nope, not at all. It was actually built in 2007 and then quickly abandoned. The best guess is that it was a temporary oil exploration camp, and those trenches around it, they weren't for defense against people, but to keep out all the venomous snakes and scorpions. Yikes.
Now this beautiful, almost artistic pattern you see on the coast of Somalia, that's not natural. It's actually an amazing example of human ingenuity. Locals have dug thousands of these 10-meter wide wells for 2 really clever reasons. First, they act as a barrier, stopping the salty ocean water from getting in and ruining the fresh groundwater inland. And second, the seawater that gets trapped evaporates, which creates these natural salt ponds for harvesting and selling. How smart is that?
And then sometimes, the Earth itself creates marks that are so perfect they actually look man-made. Deep in the Sahara, you can find this incredible formation. It looks almost exactly like the crater of an ancient volcano, like its magma chamber has been exposed to the sky after millions of years of erosion.
It's just a breathtaking sight you could only ever really appreciate from this high up.
All right, for our final section, we're going to explore some modern tricks and illusions, these clever deceptions that were designed for the 21st century and can really only be spotted by that satellite eye in the sky.
So at first glance, this image from a remote facility in China's Xinjiang region seems pretty straightforward. We see two enormous boulders. I mean, each one is about the size of a football field, and they're casting these long, dark shadows on the desert floor. Looks simple enough, right? But wait a minute. Look closer. Look at the shadows from all the other objects in the picture, the buildings, the fences. See how they're all pointing in one direction? But the boulder shadows are pointing the exact opposite way. So how is that even possible?
Because it's a brilliant optical illusion. Those aren't boulders at all. They're actually two massive sinkholes that have been dug into the ground. The shadows have been carefully painted onto the surface to totally trick your eye. Now, the purpose of this deception? That remains a complete mystery.
And finally, let's look at one of the cleverest, most low-tech solutions to a very high-tech problem. This is a recent satellite image of a Ukrainian airbase. And yes, that is a state-of-the-art strategic bomber completely covered in old car tires. Why on earth would they do that?
Well, it's called optical camouflage. The easiest way to think about it is like the facial recognition on your phone. It needs to see a clear face to unlock, right? Well, modern drones use a similar system to recognize a target's specific shape. So by covering the plane in all these tires, the military completely scrambles that shape. The automated system can't get a clean lock. It's a simple, cheap, and surprisingly effective way to protect a multi-million-dollar asset.
So crashed planes, sunken ships, and modern illusions. All of these incredible stories were just hiding there in plain sight, proving that the map is so much more than just a tool to get around. It's an archive of our planet's greatest secrets. The only question left is, what will you be the first to discover?